Ah, yo, yo, yo. It is the check in. I'm a little bit late. I had to run and get my coffee. I almost forgot my coffee. Had to get things ready. Was watching this stupid game. But, like always, we here. We here. Just going to check on a few things right quick. Um, just to get so the chats can come in from Facebook. We're also live on Rumble and YouTube. Go to Rumble, man. Check us out on Rumble. We'll be doing all the shows live on. Got a Rumble account. Go over there and like and subscribe over there on Rumble. Or if you haven't already, go to YouTube, hit that like and subscribe. It's Sunday, and you know what we do. Hold on, let me check the audio. Yeah, we're good to go. But you know what we do, man. Seems as though your boy is by himself once again. But that's all right. We get some things situated and adjusted. Gotta hide the curtain, you know what I'm saying? Um, but yeah, this is the check-in, man. I'm your boy Heat Detector. Quick disclaimer, like we always do. We are not psychiatrists. We're not licensed. We're not therapists. We are none of the above. We're just guys that have, you know, journeys in life that we have dealt with, live with. Uh, we like to help people out, if they're going through things. That's why it's called the check-in. Everybody needs somebody to check in with every once in a while, you know, just to make sure you're all right or just to get things off your chest. You know, we all need somebody to talk to every once in a while. Uh, but like I said, we're not therapists or anything like that. We're just guys that, have a space where if you feel like you need to talk or you're going through some things and you don't have anybody to talk to about, you can always talk to us over here. Also, too, we have topics. Like tonight's topic is, you know, helping or enabling. When, what's the difference? Or, when are you helping and when are you enabling somebody? You know what I'm saying? Oh, shout out to the microphone misfits. What up, what up, what up? I'll be putting the link in the chat if anybody wants to come in and chime in. Also, too, part of the disclosure though, for real, if you got if you dream of cotton candy and rainbows and unicorns and shit like that, this probably ain't for you. If you have thin skin, you like to get mad at people, you know what I'm saying? You don't hear what you want to hear, you like to report people or whatever. This ain't for you. All you got to do is switch the channel. You don't have to sit here and watch it. You don't have to agree with what we say. You don't have to do shit. What up, microphone misfits? Hopefully that's D Nick. But like I said, you don't have to agree with us. You don't even have to watch it for that matter. You can take your ass somewhere else and watch some other shit. You know what I'm saying? There's no need for you to report us or anything like that because we're actually here to help people. We ain't here to be fucking around. We're here to help people. We're not here to joke around on this show. That is. I see my camera's a little bit crooked. That's what happens when you're doing shit by yourself. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Jizzo. He should be jumping in. Shout out to OT out in Cali. I know he's working. Um, wasn't able to make the show tonight. Mateo, shout out to Ill. He's on his way. I don't know when the fuck he's gonna get here. Um, but yeah, it is what it is. I'm here, so I'm gonna do what I do what we do, and just talk about some things. Hopefully, we can get some people in the comments. Um, get some people to talk about it because I think it's important to understand and know when you're actually helping somebody or when you're enabling them. Because I don't think a lot of people know the difference. I know, especially like when you have kids, a lot of times it's tough to realize when you're enabling them or when you're actually helping them, you know? And I think it's important. I think because the shit could drive you crazy. There's a lot of things in life that could drive you crazy, be honest. You know what I'm saying? That's another reason why we're doing the show. There's a lot of things in life that can drive you crazy. You know what I'm saying? We try to touch on all those things because sometimes it's not the big things that could have you lose it. You know what I mean? Although there's probably a bunch of underlying things that people go through. And sometimes it just takes one little thing that'll be the straw that broke the camel's back. You know what I'm saying? Um, and it's something as little as enabling somebody. You're not helping them, number one, if you're enabling them. You know what I'm saying? Um, and it could be frustrating. It could be stressful. It could be a whole lot of things that go along when you're enabling somebody. You know what I'm saying? So we touch on all those things. And shout out to Unwrap Ill in the building. He said super important. Yeah, because like I said, we talk about a lot of different topics. On the show, we've talked about grieving. We've talked like tonight. We're talking about helping or enabling. Crap, I don't remember what last week was. I still, goddamn, I still need some coffee. I need to wake up. Shout out to my sister. I went over to my sister's house. She cooked a Sunday dinner, so I got the itis right now. The food made everybody tired. Um, so I need to wake up real quick. But yeah, so we touch on all these different things because I think in everyday life, when you're stressing and all, you just, when life is lifing, shit can get really crazy. Some things can just tip you right over the edge, and it can be tough. And so we tackle a lot of the. Hey, what's up? D Nick is in the building. What's up, my brother?
What's happening? Hey,
Oh,
bless.
let me fix your sound.
Can
Let
you
me
hear me?
fix your
Check one,
sound right
two,
quick, cause
uno,
I
uno.
can't hear you. And they got me by myself tonight.
Syphilis,
Now everybody can hear me.
chlamydia, gonorrhea, herpes, the clap, venereal diseases. Can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
You sound far away. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay.
I'm over here. I'm by myself in the studio, so I gotta, I got like 8,000 things over here. I'm trying to do all at once.
All right.
So just give me one sec.
Peace to everybody in unwrap check-in land. Here for Heat Detectors check-in.
Yeah. I got a slight delay on my end, but that's all right. I can live with it. It's not delaying on your end, is it?
No.
Oh, then we're good. We're golden. We're golden. Shout out to Shy City Sheba. I just keep murdering that every time. I'm just gonna say Sheba. Thank you for hopping in. Let me just make sure that this shit ain't echoing. Right, we're good. I can live with this little delay in here. I don't care about it, anyways. Yeah. So, what's going on, brother? How you feeling, man?
Man, I'm blessed, man. I feel really good, man. Really rested, ready to attack. I'm really proud of, saw one of my students, helped my homegirl. Shout out to Keisha Janae. She was going through something when we went to see this show. Um like her and my nephew, like, to support like the little homegirl, baby Roro. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? She's one of us. She's Microphone Misfit
Right.
affiliate out of Alpha Squad. So really proud of her and the work she did with the International Puppet Theater Festival. And
Nice.
so yeah, I was really always proud to see the youngsters do something. So I'm in a good mood, man. I'm blessed, getting ready to attack the world and get on the grind for everything that we got. Got some shows this weekend, the whole nine.
That's what's up, man. That's good. It's a good feeling, man, to like, have one of those days where you feel like, like King Kong type shit. You know what I mean? You're such a good mood. Everything is right, man. I hope that energy stays with you, bro. For real.
Man, appreciate it, man. I just like to see everybody winning, man. I like to see
Yeah.
everybody winning, and so yeah.
Yeah, that's what's up. But shout out to everybody over in Rumble watching. Hit that like and subscribe over on Rumble, man. We're trying to make some moves over here, man. You know what I mean? Like I'm in a pretty good mood myself. I say pretty good. I'm better than yesterday. You know what I'm saying? So I'm in a good mood. And I thought the topic today about helping and enabling was kind of important because some things came up within my own family, and it's like sometimes it's hard to discern or even tell someone that they're enabling somebody when they don't think or feel like they are enabling somebody, and that how they're not helping them. They're really crippling that person by enabling them. You know what I'm saying? Or it's
Hmm.
crippling. It's crippling too harsh of a word.
Um, it's hard to say. I'd like because I don't want you to necessarily, air your laundry.
No,
I
no, no.
you
It's
know I
not.
just
It's not that. I'm not going to air any laundry. I'm just the whole. Because I don't have to air the laundry in order to get that kind of point across about helping and enabling. You know what I'm saying?
I guess it's so hard to say because that line is so very fine and thin, so you gotta, you know, I also think that that's subjective.
What helping or
Um,
enabling is subjective?
because it's based upon your boundaries and how you feel, like the individual's boundaries and how the individual feels if they're getting taken advantage of, you know.
Right.
Um, and if it's hurting the other person, like there's so it's hard to say definitively, like as a counselor, like I'm trying to not use definitive statements, and
But you
like
ain't at work
I'm
right now, man. You ain't at work.
yeah, but I'm still doing the work. Like I'm not
Right.
like
Right.
some weirdo just on the internet, like like
Right. Right.
giving, I'm still I gotta be there tomorrow. So,
Yeah.
I don't, it's a practice. So, I'm
Well,
not finna, yeah,
there's a definition that I looked up, and it says helping is doing something for someone they are not capable of doing for themselves. Enabling
okay.
is doing something for someone else that they should be doing for themselves.
I mean, I don't know if I fully agree with that. Like in that context, did they got any other definitions of enabling?
Well, Sheba just chimed in and she said, before you extend help to anyone, there needs to be a recognized goal for their personal empowerment, not a crutch. Um,
Agree. Agree.
yeah. Well, they
Agree.
don't really have another definition. They say, why is this happening? Knowing the difference is hard work. We could simply be too lazy to discern whether we're really helping or not. It's easy to throw money at an issue and pat ourselves on the back, thinking, well, I've done my part. Now the gift is received and not my problem. Maybe not,
Okay.
but continually giving without follow up how the gift was used is your problem. Yes, doing so is a hassle, but if you continually buy groceries for a friend who doesn't know how to manage his money, you're not helping. Hmm. I mean, what if you continually buying groceries for somebody who just, I mean, they're not it's not the money that they have the problem with. It's they're just fucked up in a fucked up situation. I've helped people out before for months and months because they were unable to get off their feet, or they were unable to well, let me rephrase that. They were capable, but things just weren't going their way. You know what I mean?
That's
Because
why that's why I said it's subjective and it like in that because there's a difference. So like the way you're describing it, and which I'm not telling you you're wrong, but the way you're describing it is you're basing it upon intention, and some people may base it on intention, others may base it on outcome. I really like what Sheba said about like, what's the goals? What's the
right,
goals?
she
That
said
at least gives you a track to
right.
where you moving. Like, no,
By the way, I didn't say nothing. I'm reading this shit. You know what I'm
no,
saying?
I got you. I get you.
Yeah, I want to read what she said one more time. She said, "Before you extend help to anyone, there needs to be a recognized goal for their personal empowerment, not a crutch." I agree with her,
Yes.
but sometimes it's hard to discern, like if you're actually doing those things. You know what I'm saying? It's hard to like sometimes even realize, like if you're helping someone or you're giving a crutch, because even that person could be faking the funk the whole time. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
You could have a person that's playing both sides of the fence. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Pretending, because I've been in that situation before too, where I was helping someone and they were getting up and they were pretending like they were going to work and they were doing all of these, or not going to work, but looking for a job and doing all of these things. And I was continually doing shit, but they were, but I think that's a whole different thing because they were using me, but I thought I was helping them. Would that be like
Right.
enabling them too? Because I wasn't following through, because I wasn't actually checking to see if they were telling the truth or not, or you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, in that situation, specifically that situation, you was getting vicked.
Oh
You
yeah,
know what I'm saying?
oh yeah, no,
Like,
for sure,
so
for sure. It didn't end well for that person. You know what I'm saying? When they were supposed to, when they did say that they got a job, and then I'm walking down the street and I see this nigga. You know what I'm saying? And like, yo, aren't you supposed to be at work, nigga? You know what I mean? Like, yeah, well, whatever. The shit
like
didn't.
like if I'm in if I'm in if I'm in a session or whether I'm about to start a session or we're in the middle of the session, depending on the unit we on. Like right now, like for some of the people that I'm service what tomorrow, for example, for them we are still on accountability. You know what
Right,
I'm saying? We're still like, so the only thing they've passed, to which even though they passed doesn't mean we done with hammering that down, but it's integrity, and then we're going through working with accountability. Like that's the goal. Like I have 6 goals in the process that I'm trying to achieve with these young men in the 2-year process. And
right.
so for other groups, we're on positive anger expression. But even in that, like, but that I don't gotta deal with that till like Wednesday and Thursday. But even if that's one of the goals, the added goal, we still got to make sure your integrity is in check, your accountability is in check, and you're working on that. So again, I go back, I gotta agree with Sheba about like the goals in mind. So if you're talking about helping someone, what is the goals? What is
Right.
the goal?
Well,
You know?
Unwrap Ill says Sheba's speaking facts, and Sheba just chimed in again, and she said, "True. You may not know, but wait a minute. You may not know, but you have to be close enough to observe growth on their part, especially if they keep seeking your help." Hmm. Well, there's another part of this that says we think suffering is always bad, period. And it says none of us like to see someone suffer, but preventing suffering is often not wise. I have a 40-year-old friend who vividly recalls the time when he, as a teenager, was arrested for drinking and driving. Upon being notified by the police, his father chose to leave him in jail overnight instead of bailing him out. Furthermore, the dad sold his son's truck. I know the father, and I'm absolutely convinced that he was deeply empathetic of his son's plight. But I doubt if his father slept much, knowing his son was in jail. but he wisely allowed his son to suffer the consequences of his actions and suffer the consequences of his actions. He said, by the way, the son never drove after drinking again. So that was the lesson, I guess, letting him stay the night in jail
Yeah.
and selling his truck.
I
You don't
mean,
think
you know,
that's a little? I mean, I that's a that's a little extreme. Sell a motherfucker's truck. I mean, I
I
guess
mean,
if he was a minor,
was he underage? Was the
yeah,
son
that's what I'm
underage?
saying.
Or?
I mean, but I still think that still is a little extreme. You can like just take the truck from him for a while or something. You know what I mean? But then again, what does he really learn a lesson? I guess. But is that
I
enabling him?
mean, I
If you keep
mean,
the truck, if you keep the truck, right?
mm-hmm.
Is that enabling him? If you say, okay, you fucked up, now you just can't have the truck for 6 or 7 months.
I mean, that's subjective.
Right.
That's like that's why I said it's subjective, depending on the situation. If and that's tricky too, because that's a parent and something. Man, my sister said this, and this is the illest shit that I heard. And this is like off topic, but it's just something that was really interesting that she said to me. And I feel her, like parenting is not instinctual.
Right.
Like we learn how to do that shit for whatever way that we learn how to do it. Whether it's rejecting how we were raised or wanting to, how we were. So for that individual, he felt like, man, I'm gonna give him some really firm, really hard consequences. If it's good enough for the law, then like, well, I gotta get the money to bail you out. You know what I'm saying? That's costing me money, so I gotta suffer because you messed up.
Right.
That's a so to him is like, man, I'm not finna enable that. You know what I'm saying? Like he clearly looked at that as enabling. So no, you're gonna suffer.
Well, I had
Some
something
people,
very similar happen. I don't mean to cut you off. Go ahead, man.
yeah. No, I'm almost like done with that. Like for some, they look at that as, no, man, it's too dangerous in jail. It's crazy. So they not cool. Like bail them out. But that's like two losses. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? So.
Yeah. Shout out to Sheba. She said that she feels it's extreme as well. E. Johnson is in the building. Haven't seen him in a minute. One of our most loyal fucking subscribers. Followers, been watching us from day one. Sheba says again, no rule book at all. Facts as far as being parents. Now look, I had something like that, damn near exactly like that happen. So I bought a car for my son, and I told him, I said,
Uh-huh.
look, I'm gonna buy the car. You have to pay me at least. You got to pay me half back, right? Because I told him, I said, I want to just hand it to you, and I want you to, pay for it because when you buy something and you earned it, you know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, you're gonna take care of it, type shit. You know what I'm saying? In my mind, right? So I had this whole plan, and so he agrees. And I'm like, listen, man, this is I'm gonna treat this like a car lot. You know what I'm saying? I don't care how. And I told him, I said, it's $1,500. That's all you got to pay me. I said, I don't care how you pay it, but at least pay something once a month. You know what I mean? So that $1,500 is paid up, right? He agrees, and I tell him I'm dead serious. Like, don't fuck this up. And he agrees. 1 month goes by, nothing. 2 months go by, nothing. 3 months go by, nothing. Then he fucks the car up. So he's waiting on me to fix the car, and then he's bothering his mom to fix the car. No. I said, fuck that. Ain't nobody fixing that car. He wants that car fixed. He can fix it his fucking self. You know what I'm saying? That car sat in the
Mhm.
garage for almost 2 years because he didn't
Wow.
want to fix it. So I said to his mom, well, I'm gonna fix it and I'm taking it back. So that turned into a whole fiasco. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? Because also too, the car wasn't in his name, and he had racked up a shitload of tickets. So the moment I say I'm gonna fix the car, all of a sudden he's making plans. He's gonna finish. The car ain't even fixed yet, and he's already talking about, oh, I'm about to go out tonight, hit Lakeshore Drive, and I'm just like, the fuck, And then when I talk to his mom about it, I get blamed for everything, whatever, and I'm because I shouldn't do that to him or this and that. And she, to me, was missing the whole point. That fucking car sat in the garage for a year and a half. He made no effort whatsoever. And if that car gets fixed and we just hand it to him, then what? And he still hasn't made the payment that he said he was going to do, that he was going to honor. Needless to say, he ain't got the motherfucking car. I got the car.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Is it sitting in the garage? Yes. He can have it when he pays for it and pay back every fucking thing that has been put into it, including the tickets. But until then, you ain't having shit. And I might sell the motherfucker. You know what I mean? So, it literally sat in the garage for like a year, over a year and a half.
Mm-hmm.
And even after I got it fixed and everything, he had at one point grabbed the keys, and I was like, "What the fuck you? What are you doing?" I'm about to take my car and go. No, 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 that's not your car, sir. Put them damn keys down. That's my car. You know what I'm saying? He didn't like that shit. But, you know, I don't know. I don't think I was being extreme in that, but I can relate to that story, so to speak, because of that. And I felt like if I did give him the car, I would be enabling him. You
Okay.
know, so I
Did you
don't
give
know.
him a? Did you get you? So you never gave him a payment plan, or you
I
never
told
gave him?
him at a minimum, at least $50 a month. At a minimum,
Okay.
at a minimum. You know what I'm saying? You can
Okay.
handle that. You're working. You can handle that. And I don't
Okay.
care. Like I told him, I don't. I mean, within reason. I didn't say from this amount of time to this amount of time, but within reason. I don't really care how long it takes you to pay. Just make sure you pay this money so that it's something you paid for. You know what I'm saying? I was trying to teach a lesson in that. You know what I'm saying? And also, like, even after fixing the car and everything else, I had said, if this was a car lot, that motherfucker would have been gone. You know what I'm saying? If you was making payments and everything, you wouldn't even have had it that couple of months that you didn't make those payments. This is real life shit and that's how I was telling. This is real life shit, and you're treating it like I don't know what, like everybody's supposed to be taking care of you. That's not how this works. You know what I mean? He's a young man. You know what I mean? This is not an underage, child or anything. You know what I mean? But yeah, he took off with it the other day, and I almost lost my shit. I called him up and was like, "What the fuck are you doing in my car?" You know what I mean? It's like, well, I'll just, nah, that ain't for you to just hop in and take wherever the fuck you want to go and do whatever you want to do. But, I come from a different generation of shit. You know what I mean? And I'm trying to still work. I'm not trying, but I'm still working on a lot of shit. But there's some things I'm just not going to bend on. But
No,
I
I get you.
I get it. You know what I'm saying? I understand it. You know what I mean? And I'm probably guilty of enabling my children as well. But as a parent, like you were saying, there is no fucking rule book or handbook to it. Really kind of just learn every month and every fucking year because it's always something. But I don't think you want to. I don't think you ever want to enable your children. Fuck that
Right.
because I think that just makes them all fucked up if they're being enabled, like really bad,
Yeah.
in my opinion. Because like my son, I feel like his mom enables him. My daughter, on the other hand, is a go getter. She listens to all the advice I give her. She fucking does everything. You know what I mean. And I don't know if that's a male female thing or father daughter, mother son thing. Uh,
It could be. It could be that that tracks, especially like with me and mine. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
It the thing about helping. One thing I will agree fully with the definition and probably maybe elaborate a little bit. Like, man, stuff need rules and structure. So if you're going to help, you know, there has to be rules and structure to the
right.
help. You know, like okay, like the the like if we just using the example you just gave about the car, you got to take accountability for not imploring enough rules and structures like in that, where it's like, okay,
Well, no,
if
no.
it's
I mean, okay. So, well, maybe I'm being a little defensive. I don't know, but there were things that
Hmm.
I did along the lines. You know what I'm saying? Like the first month, I'm
Hmm.
like, yo, you know what I'm saying? Like, what the fuck? Okay, I got you, I got you, I got you. You know, and let that slide. Second month, it's like, okay, keep fucking around, and you ain't gonna have a fucking car. You know what I'm saying? Then
But is that a rule and structure? Or is that a threat?
that's a threat.
Yeah, yeah. So that's different. Like, yeah. So it's like, okay, like, when talk about rules and structures, like, okay, how much and when, and you empower him, how much and when can you pay this?
Right,
if you're trying to teach, like, responsibility and all of this type of stuff, then, like, all right, on this day, if you get paid every week or you get paid every 2 weeks, then every 2 weeks, I expect $50 on this day, every paycheck. You know what I'm saying? Like, can we agree to that? You know, if he says yes or no, okay, what can you agree to?
right.
You know,
Well, I
like
did a lot
these
of
are
I didn't set no dates, but I did a lot of those things like about, making sure that we agreed upon the same thing and he understood what the agreement was.
he understood what the agreement was, but you gave no structure. So
Right.
you gotta take accountability for that. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? Because everything, light bills got like structure. Hey, it's due right now. Rent got structure. It's due this
Right.
day. If you don't pay within these days, there's gonna be a what they call it, a penalty fee or whatever.
Right.
So like, this is, if the goal is to get them used to and accustomed to that, you know what I'm saying, then, and on the grander scheme and helping, we have to take accountability. Like, if someone helping someone out without like establishing rules to it, then that shit is just a gift, G.
Right. No,
It's
well,
just a gift.
okay. Well, you know what, man? Shiva says, I gotta read her comment right now because she's on my
Mhm.
side. She said, she said, you set great responsibility goals for him. No, I thought I did, but clearly I didn't. You know what I'm saying? Because here's another piece of the story that's even way more stupid. So
Mhm.
instead of fixing his car, he has his friend sign because a friend of his had bought like this car lot, or no, I don't know if it was a car lot, but he was doing like a rental car type of thing. So
Mhm.
he was renting to own this car from his friend's company or whatever, and he was paying $250 a week, which pissed me all the way off. Granted, that didn't last but maybe a month. But the fact is that I kept stressing and telling him and his mother, like, what the fuck? You got $250 to. It didn't even take $250 to fix that damn car. And that's the dumbest shit, you know what I mean? And everybody was all happy for him when he got that car. And I'm sitting back going, like, the fuck? You got a whole car in the garage.
What was the response about? What was the response?
Why can't you just be happy for him? He's got a car. He doesn't want that car anymore. Yeah, because it doesn't fucking work, and because he broke some shit on it.
Did you then sell that car then?
What, the one that he got, or the one that that
No,
that sat
no,
in the
the one that
garage?
that sat in the garage.
No, it's in the garage now.
Oh. That would have been a perfect time to sell it,
Yeah,
or
right.
let.
No, it's in the garage now, and he be wanting to try to use that motherfucker all the time. Like, I let him like go to the gas station and shit, but I don't really let him go too much any further with the motherfucker. But and I definitely keep the keys. And he said, Shiva says, I think you did. His response to it may be different matter. His response to it may be a different matter to address. But I mean, like I said, like he fucking went and got another car, but then that shit didn't last but a hot ass motherfucking minute. And at the end of the day, he had ended up spending like $800 and something dollars. It cost 175 to fix the car that's in the garage. You know what I'm saying? And he could have taken that money and applied it. And I said that to him too. I don't know what the fuck you're doing because all that money you're wasting, You know what I'm saying? You could apply that to this car that you have in the garage. I don't want that car anymore. All right.
So,
I mean, I'm over it
man,
at this point. I mean,
I I,
I got
I
the
hear you.
motherfucking car. But
Well, let
it's
me.
just, it was just that whole other story is what sparked me. You know what I'm saying?
Well, that's true. Then that's definitely enabling
What?
the
Keeping
that
the
whole
car?
scenario. Yeah,
Hmm.
because none of the goals, like Sheba said, none of the goals were met and matched. Like nothing, no goals were met, nothing on any level. So that whole situation. I would qualify that as enabling.
Well, shit. I didn't feel like I was, but I suppose if you put it that way, and the car is still here, and he does have access to it, or he is given access to it every once in a while. So I suppose you're right. And my sister told me that shit too. She said, "Sell that motherfucker." And I was on some. I don't know.
I mean, if
I
you
mean,
want
I
to keep
felt
the
bad
car,
for him.
then
I
you
felt
get to
bad
keep.
for him. In this, as that's that's the whole thing like about parenting, man. We don't. A lot of times we don't want our kids to be going through shit that we went through, and we want to give them shit that we didn't have, or you know what I mean. But at the same time, then we're like we're not teaching them how to work and how to be responsible and shit by just handing them shit. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, yeah, I get you.
Because
I
there's a side of me
totally.
that's like, man, fuck that. You know what I mean? Like, there's a side of me that's like, man, you ain't getting shit, man. You know what I'm saying? Give a fuck. There's another side of me as a parent is like, oh man, damn, I don't feel bad. You know what I'm saying? Shit. I didn't have a parent that was capable of buying me a car. You know what I mean? I didn't, So, yeah, I don't know, man. That's crazy. I had never really given it that much thought like this right now because as I stood before this show, my thought process was like I was not enabling him one motherfucking bit. And I was the one standing on the side of, you know what I'm saying? Fuck that. That's enabling him, and I'm not finna do that. And I thought that my thought process was that everything that I had done up until that point was not enabling him when you really think about it, or when I really think about it, that's exactly what the fuck I did to a degree, I think, because well, I guess that doesn't matter because the car is still fucking here. Oh, what a tangle web we weave, man. God damn. Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm out. Look, I'm gonna go outside tomorrow and look at that motherfucking car and be like, okay, I'm gonna have to rethink this whole shit. I should have
I
just stood
mean,
my ground in the beginning, like when I said I was gonna sell the motherfucker. I should have just did what the fuck I said I was gonna do. Period.
it's it's just establishing like the goals and what are the rules of all of that, like and when and helping with the reason everybody is all like and enabling, and that's why I say it's subjective because it's dependent upon what's who you hurting by enabling, like who if anyone's being a grifter or a scammer or any of that type of stuff. I don't disagree with letting homie, like for your homeboy that was talking about, I let the dude still let my son stay in jail, and I sold his truck. I don't I don't disagree with any of that stuff. I'm like, okay, that's a choice. That's a pretty absolute and righteous choice. If
Right.
that's how I can't. What I can't say is you wronged him. Fuck, you was driving drunk. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So, and that, like, you wronged yourself. Like, so it's like, nah, man, if it's my truck, then, man, you didn't deserve it. You didn't earn it. If that's my metric of,
Oh,
of it.
if to throw another even twist in there, what if he knew? By the way, that's a story I'm reading from this medical journal shit. But what if he knew his son was a heavy drinker anyways, and had like a history of shit? You know.
Then, lesson learned. If he's that irresponsible being a heavy drinker, then okay, you're not gonna do that on on my dime and my watch.
Right.
Especially if you in my care,
Right.
you know what I'm saying?
Unwrap Ill says we don't feel like we're enabling because we don't agree with what's going on, but we still let things slide. I'm guilty of it too. And there I go again. Sheba says, I also have learned that most of us parents, from a place of preventive pain we felt as kids, I know I have. That's not always good either. I'm learning that. Learn that most of us parents, from a place of preventive pain we felt as kids. Oh, okay. Trying to understand that. Okay.
Yeah. No, I mean I hear that, man. It's that, especially if you're talking about parenting, and there's a thin line between compassion and coddling. I put that in a rhyme. Let me not quote my bars, sorry. But you know what I'm saying?
No, you good.
But that's the thing. That's the thing. There ain't no there's just not no rules, like parenting is not instinctual. Some people will like say that, like my sister really fucked my head up with that, you know what I'm saying, in a good way. I was just like, damn. It's like, man, because she's a therapist, you know what I'm saying, and
Right.
like it runs all in my family. Like I was the last holdout, you know what I'm saying, of going into clinical work, right?
Yeah.
But she's big on that. Like she was talking about that, and I was just like, wow, you know, because like she was commenting on like this dude that like totally was getting into. It was on the internet. He was a comedian, like from Chicago, actually. Was really getting on about his daughter, and how he just like the way he was talking. Mind you, he's a comic, so he's talking pretty egregious, and he's just like,
Mm-hmm.
man, he's like, man, and she's like, and his daughter was kind of trying to guilt him. He was like, man, whatever, you just popped up on me. I don't even know you like that.
What
So
the
I
fuck?
tried to have love for you, but you know what I'm saying? But I ain't really fuck with your mama. So it's like, you gonna like get the fuck on. You just trouble like your mama was, and all of this type of stuff. And he was talking about the whole situation. Everybody was, you know, they were we were talking about that, and you know, and my sister was just like, man, people act like parenting is instinctual. That shit is learned. We either
Right.
react, from it, like we ain't gonna do this, or we gonna do exactly like this, or we Shaw City Sheba was like, man, we not gonna, like I'm parenting from a place of, trying to preventive pain, if I'm saying that right, if I'm quoting her properly. And it's like, man, like that ain't none of that shit is instinctual. That's all learned and all
Right.
of that type of stuff. So, learning what is enabling and what is helping and all of this. That's why you get all of these like cockazoids that are, like spoiled and be entitled on the rich, well-to-do side of the game. So like, no, I get it, man. It's you know, it, that shit is deep. You know what I'm saying? That shit is
Yeah.
interesting.
Sheba
You
says
know,
she saw that segment that you're talking about.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, like that is crazy, and I feel like I don't the way he was talking about like this illegitimate daughter like is crazy. And my mom used to really be, she used to really be like tough on the boys.
Mm-hmm.
She was tough on the girl too. She was like but she would never like she was just always, my mother was always on some pimp shit. I remember being heartbroken and like high school, my little high school sweetheart broke my heart. And she looked at me like real twist, screw face, and she was just like, "You got 2 days to get over it." And I'm being nice with that, like And I remember we adults, my sister is like crying about her boyfriend didn't work out, and she's crying, and my mother in her same thing. She's like, "Brittany, it's a man. Are you crying over a man?"
Right.
We stopped crying over men in the 70s. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Right.
And it's just like, she was, she did not enable heartbreak or any of that type of stuff because she didn't want us to get victim.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so she was very, very pimpish. You
My mom
know,
said something like that to me. I was heartbroken too at about 14 or 15, and I was at home crying about the little fucking girl. And she just like grabbed me and just said, you don't ever cry over a woman. I think I said that in the show before.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
She said, you don't ever cry over a woman, you cry with her. And basically it was like straighten your face up and go do something with yourself or whatever. But that was pretty much it. But you know, um, Shy C Deceiver said yes. Preventive. We don't want our kids to hurt. Yeah, we don't want them to hurt, but we also don't want to enable their ass. You know what I'm
What do you
saying?
mean? What do you mean by that question? Oh, just
Yeah,
like so
the
okay, I
preventative.
get it. Right.
Yeah, we don't want them to hurt, but we don't want to enable their asses either. And you see that a lot in different cultures too, here in the United States. You know what I'm saying? Um, Unwrap Ill says 2 days. He said, I'm still he said, I'm still hurting over my ex fiance. Man, get over that shit.
No, bro, like it's on your clock, brother. It's on
Yeah,
your
I'm just
clock.
fucking with you. Yeah, it is on your clock for real. So real quick, there's another thing in here that says we as an enabler, right? It says we might
Mhm.
like the feeling of control. This is the one of the more prevailing with the prevalent. This is one of it. This is more prevalent in enabling with enabling parents, but it works like this: mom or dad just can't allow those apron strings to be cut. So they will allow a grown child to continue to live at home, often paying Junior's bills and letting him get by with doing little to improve himself. The parent, in a perverted way, allows this his son or daughter to become codependent so that he can maintain control over the child. Ooh wee. Ooh wee. I know that one oh too well. Not from my end, but I know that one oh too well. Ooh, that's yeah. Okay. Hmm.
Yeah. Yo, that's why that's why like in the principles like of accountability. That's why I never stray away from what did you do? What did you do in the situation? I never stray away from that. Like I'm always like ferociously on the accountable side, of like, when I have young men that are like, man, this person they did this. What did you do? Did you how did you react to the situation? But Mr. D, they did, but how
How did you react?
did you react to? She was rude to me. All right, you just made your situation worse. You didn't. Did you
Right.
have to do that? Was that? Do you think that was a proper response? I don't care. She could have been an asshole, and
Right.
I guarantee she was an asshole. But you just made it worse, player. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Even in this situation, I can't not do it because we're all like, it's always that, and really the reason like in counseling they always try to get us, we're not supposed to give people the answers. We're supposed
Right.
to lead them to help them discover the answers, like and just give like so lead them to the options, and remind them of like, hey, if you do this, this happens, and if you don't do this, this can happen. This all of this type of stuff, because if we're giving them the answers and we're doing all of that for them, that can service our ego, and
Right.
it's the it gives ultimate control to the person, because then they start looking at us like we're the gatekeepers of their salvation and becoming better people. In my situation as a counselor, I'm like a better man, and I have to remind them I'm not in charge of nobody's manhood except my own. I'm
Right.
just here to guide you through that, in this program and this counseling services. But there's a thin line. I always say this to people. There's a big difference between, you know, get your ass in the kitchen and cook me some dinner versus get your ass out my kitchen, I'm cooking dinner. There's a difference.
Right.
There's a difference. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm real, me personally, I'm real funky. I don't like I've always been like this. I don't like women cooking for me. I just I I won't I won't do it.
I second that one. I don't like that shit either. I don't
I
know what
won't
that is, but
do it.
I don't like that shit either. But I love cooking for people. But
I
I don't.
mean, I'm cool either way. Like, I cook for myself. I don't like any, and that's the thing with me. And I know where that come from. It's a thing, like I don't like to feel control. I don't like the idea of someone having access to my nourishment like
Wait,
that.
you don't think that's a little extreme in thought?
Hmm?
You don't think that's a little extreme in thought?
It could be. I don't reject that. I don't reject that.
Huh.
I,
Yeah.
I I'm not. Hey man, I'm
I'm not.
I'm
I listen
being
because
honest.
I feel that I feel I don't. I mean I don't like people cooking for me in general. Like I went to my sister's house tonight. It was an invite. I went because I respect my sister, and they took the time out to cook. Um, but generally speaking, I don't like people cooking for me. But not because it's a control thing or anything. I just don't like other people's cooking. You know what I'm saying? And I tend
I
to
mean,
be
there's that
about
too.
98.9% of the time a better cook than most motherfuckers anyway. So, and I enjoy it. It's therapeutic for me. So, but damn, you don't like nobody being in control of your nourishment, man. That's pretty heavy.
I mean, that's the biggest thing. I mean, the lighter side is like I like the way I cook for me.
Right.
Like I like I mean, that's the more superficial side. But I'm I like yeah, I don't. And so, because that enables that, getting back to the thing, like, it enables, enabling is a part of,
Oh,
can be,
wow.
like you just said, is a form of control.
Right.
And so it's like, like, my nourishment my
Come
nourishment
on, bro.
that's a lot of control you're asking me to give up. Shout out to my DJ Mel L. Man, I'll never get, it was 14, and this is, forgive me my language, everybody. My DJ Mel L's uncle. We was over. He was working on some stuff, and Mel's a little older than me. His uncle, shout out to Uncle Shep. His Uncle Shep came in, and he was just like, the key. He was got a country accent. He was like, they say the key to a man's stomach, the key to a man's heart is through his stomach. But if you can cook for yourself, bitch, got to find another way. And like, I don't know what it was about the way he said it with that southern twang, but that just really and captivated 14-year-old D Nick. When I got home, I was like, Granny, I asked my grandma, Granny, you gotta show me how to cook. You gotta teach me how to
Right.
cook. My grandmother was like, okay, that's different. She called my grandfather Daddy. She was like, Daddy never asked me to teach him how to cook. And okay, now I'll teach you how to. And so she showed me how to cook, and then I learned. I'll be watching. I would go to restaurants and just I love watching people cook. I'm hanging out with Indian homies to learn how to cook Indian food, and I just made my whole shit versatile. And so, boom.
We just
But
went
I'm
down
man,
this the chat has just went down a rabbit hole, bro. So it started off with Unwrap Ill saying he says men are better cooks, and
oh,
then Shiva chimes in and says y'all cook better, uh, and Ill says that's too deep for me, haha. And I guess he's talking about you and the nourishment. And then he says again, he says if someone cooks for me, yeah, I'll have a bite. And then Shiva comes in and says, and women rarely cook with love. They cook to cast spells on men sometimes. That's real.
see, okay, see, so right there, thank you,
Hold on.
Shiva.
Wait,
Thank you,
wait,
Trust.
wait. There's more. You know what I'm saying? First of all, no, I'm not going to play it. I'm not going to show that one because he's just saying, I'm a fire ass chef. You know what I'm saying? He like makes mean cereal. And then Shiva chimes in again and she says, I know that sounds wild, but I've heard women say some craziness about cooking for the men. It's always some hidden bait being set. That's messed up. Now, go ahead, D Nick.
No, I like look. Uncle Shep
It's funny
said,
that this funny that this has popped up because I was talking to my nephew. He was on the phone with somebody and she was talking about cooking for him or something. And I said, don't let her do it. She's gonna put some vagina pee in your spaghetti, and nigga, and have you walking around here as crazy or some shit like that. And they all started laughing. I was just cracking a joke, but it's just funny
right,
that
right,
this has
right.
popped up. But we've heard those old wives' tales
Yeah,
before. You know,
yeah. No, yeah, same. But it's just something about the whole like if a man can cook for himself, bitch got to find another way. Like and I'm 14, so I was impressionable about that. But I was like, yo, I fuck with that, man. And so I've grown to like, man, I really and I've had experience of people cooking for me, and it's always been under the guise the control, and I've never wanted that, and I could always cook for myself. And I've had some women who are fire cooks, so I'm like, no, I don't need that. I don't need none of that. I don't. That's a part of why, like, man, God bless all the hobosexuals out there. I couldn't do
wait,
it.
what the fuck did you say? Hobosexuals? What is that?
Yeah, the jokers that be living with like someone for and sleeping with someone for like housing and
Oh
like
wow!
living
Oh wow! 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 Okay,
you
got
know
you. Yeah, hobosexuals. That's.
it's more prevalent, I guess you would say, in men because it's stigmatized, like
Do you think that?
because it's like
Oh, that so then that takes us back to what if
enabling.
the mother has enabled that young man at an age throughout his entire life, and then when he's finally out on his own, he don't know how to survive on his own, and he needs somebody to enable him, and you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah, because you you out in the world ass first. It's different. Like that shit is not fun. Like, and so you gotta really, really learn how to do that. Like like we work in music, you know what I'm saying? So like part of the reason like some of these dumbass artists and musicians like get screwed over is because they've been enabled by the companies that back them or sponsor them, i.e. a record label or whatever. Like you're giving them this, that, and the third, and so they don't know how to do nothing. They don't know, that's enabling, and that form of enabling gives leverage and is a form of control. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? Whether you're cognizant of that or not, like not everybody is gonna abuse that, because they're not even cognizant of that. Like they might be like how Shar City Sheba was saying, like they just might want to just don't want to see like they loved ones, especially if it's a parent, they want to see them suffer. But
Right.
it's like, but then what's the outcome of the worst case scenario? You know what I'm saying? What happens on that end? How do we got to learn this stuff. And because parenting is far from instinctual, you know what I'm saying? So, people just moving, people just doing shit. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Because they think it's right. You know what I'm saying? Or maybe they better than the ain't shit person that they had a baby with, so they're the more the authority. But then just because that motherfucker ain't shit, don't mean you worth shit neither. You know what I'm saying? You
Right.
just you know, like you just better off than that motherfucker. You know, like that don't make you a good person. That just make you less shitty than that person. Like you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So
Right.
like, and that's a real thing too, and people don't really wanna have those harsh conversations, and it's tough, because we that's why I really have a issue with romanticism, like on all levels. You know what I'm saying? Because everything it turns into leverage, and
Right.
everything is about being leveraged, and the whole like enabling stuff is like, man, we're enabling, love, like we're leveraging all of that type of stuff. The whole enabling question is about leveraging shit,
Right.
and and it sucks. And some people don't like that. Like they don't, might not like you leveraging that goddamn car. You know what I'm saying? But if you're
Right.
not leveraging that car, then someone else is
I think I can
leveraging.
admit, I can think that I can admit at this point that I had been using that car as leverage
Hmm. Hmm.
to low key like control it. You know what I mean? I hadn't really
Hmm.
given it that much thought until this evening. But real quick, like Shiva says, my family's from New Orleans, which is a real. And then and then Ill pops in and says, "I never heard about women doing that. That's some super dope information, Shiva." And then she says, "So true." And then she says again, she's saying, "That's true. If boys are not raised, they learn to perform. They learn to perform for what they want. They charm. They charm mama. She falls for it, and then he takes that hustle to his manhood with a woman." Huh.
That's also That's not even that. I wouldn't even. I mean, from her vantage point, yes, I wouldn't even, because I'm assuming that Shar City Sheba is a heterosexual woman. You know what I'm saying? So I'm assuming. Apologies if she's not. Like that, but that's not even gender specific,
Right.
or like, because that happens the other way. Like how many dudes enable their daughters and all of that type of stuff, because that's my little girl and all of
I
this
just
type
said
of
that shit to
stuff.
my daughter tonight. I today she had asked me to cook her something or do something, and my sons were like, I didn't like, oh, it was like breakfast or something like that, and they're like, I didn't even know he know how to cook breakfast because I don't, I don't, I cook dinner. That's it. And
Hmm.
but I had said something to her. I was like, yeah, it's pretty much, I don't know. I told her, I said, I guess I have to admit to everybody that I do whatever you ask me to do all the damn time. And she just started laughing. But I do. You know what I mean? She asked me to do something, I'll do it for my daughter, and then I just expect my sons to just be like, I don't know, man up and do it, nigga.
But
You know what I mean?
in a conventional, traditional like thing, like that's usually more times than not, that's high goals. Like for me, the I'm putty to my nieces, and my daughter. I'm putty to
Right,
them. I just I it's just I love them too hard, too tough. Like it's
right,
crazy, you know. And the reverse is for the boys with like I'm different with the boys. It's
right.
like, hey, it's I mean I think I like to think that I'm a fun parent. You know what I'm saying? Like my
Mm-hmm.
son and my nephew's younger, so he's a little, and he's different because I relate to him differently,
Right,
because we're in the same situation. Like I was taken in and he was taken in by me. So it's different for us. So,
Right.
so with the boys it's really it's different. But my Dukes is gonna coddle them, you know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? And to a degree, you know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna coddle the girls,
Right.
the daughter and the nieces, and that's just and then we balance that shit out. You know what I'm saying? And as close to I guess you could say as traditional as you could get. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying?
Yeah. Shit, I don't know, but my daughter's
But when
response was crazy to me when she smiled and said mm-hmm and kind of giggled like yeah, and then she goes yep, got that right. I was like, well, fuck, I didn't even have a fucking retort for that. I was just like,
man, let it be what
yeah,
it be.
yeah.
Cause it's
With
it's
her, it's different. Like I was saying earlier, with her, it's different because she actually listens to the advice and shit that I give her. You know what I mean? So I don't feel any kind of way like doing stuff for her because I'm very proud of her. She just became a manager at Starbucks. She's 19,
that's dope.
and she,
That's dope.
like she says right now, she's like, look at me, I'm making grown folks money. You know what I'm saying? She's 19, she's doing her thing. She travels a lot. She's getting ready to go to New York again. She's been to London. She has plans to go to Tokyo. She's doing her own thing. She's
That's
saving her
dope.
money. She's working hard. And I always have conversations. I have conversations with my kids all the time about what they shouldn't be doing, what I feel like they should be doing. But ultimately, it's up to them. But she's on her shit, and so I don't mind doing anything for her because she's on her shit, but also don't mind doing anything for her because she's my daughter. You know,
Yeah.
but
You relate to the boys differently. So, you're gonna be harder on them and it just it's how it be, man. It's how it be, man. Like so that's dope. That's dope.
and I
Those
don't
are
feel
the
like I'm
child.
enabling her by cooking for her or doing things for her. You know what I mean? Her schedule at her job, she has to get up very early. She doesn't drive, and I get up very early, 4:30 in the morning, and make sure she gets to work. I'm always picking her up from work, taking her where she needs to go, and shit like that. And she buys me coffee. Buys me breakfast or whatever. But
That's dope, man.
yeah,
That's dope, And she got my Dukes to get in her ass and be like, hey. You know what I'm saying?
right, right, right. But yeah, I mean, this whole enabling thing, I just had me thinking because I was gonna have a whole different topic for the show, and then something had happened, and it just had me thinking yesterday and the day before, like, damn, like, when do we draw the line of helping somebody, or when do we know that that like that we're helping them or we're enabling them? Someone. I should say them. I should say someone. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? When do we or how can we that's even a better question. How can you recognize when you're enabling someone? Because there could be people out there that are enabling someone and they don't even fucking know it.
When they're a liability to you or themselves.
Hmm. But what if they don't see it? What if they don't see it as a liability?
What if who doesn't see it?
Either side.
That's a different answer for either side.
Well, okay,
So
so
if you're the helper,
if the person that's enabling doesn't realize it or doesn't see it or doesn't see the person as a
the
liability.
helper, aka the enabler.
Right.
Okay. If they don't see it, right, if they don't see that they're enabling,
Yeah, and that they don't see it, and they also don't see the person as a liability,
then
or they just don't recognize it. How about that? They just don't recognize it as a liability. It could be a liability, and they just don't recognize that like the bills are piling up just because of this shit, or it could be something. I don't know. I'm just posing the question just to
yeah,
get some
then
clarity. Even for myself and for anybody that may be watching, just for some clarity, because I think it's a really thin line, like you said in the very beginning of the show. helping and enabling. That's a very fucking thin line to discern. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, I stick with the being a liability to yourself, or being a liability to yourself. So if you're a helper and or others, liability to yourself or others. If you're a helper and you don't recognize it, because it might not be a liability to you at that moment, but you might be a liability to them because you're not giving them, just use an example, you're not giving them hard skills or soft skills or any of that type of
Right.
stuff. You're not teaching them, so you're not showing them how to put in work and do their thing.
What if
You
it's a
know, so
person that says, because I know you've heard this before, and I hate when people say this. Well, I'm a people pleaser. You know what I mean? You have those people
yeah, yeah, yeah.
that don't. Maybe they're just enablers, period, and they just go. They in their mind, they're like, "No, I'm a people pleaser. I like helping."
Man, that's something deep within themselves that they got to figure out how to balance that shit out. Like, I know I get it. I can atone to being that cat too. I've been there. Like I've been a people pleaser and an enabler, and having to learn how to set boundaries for others, and that shit is hard. Like, people get mad. People, like, man, people. Oh my god, I remember, like, I ain't gonna say who, but there was some rappers that really wanted, like, some consulting, like, advice from me. And, you know, give big up to my crew. Mel L was like, hey, fuck them people. You you like, they ain't microphone misfits. Like, don't be giving away, our jewels for free. You know what I'm saying? Make the motherfuckers pay so you don't get burnt out.
Right.
And it's like, damn, like, I hear you. I gotta be a good captain of the ship. And it was like, all right, cool. So I'm like, all right, my sessions, I'll work with you, but if you want some music business consulting shit, it's my asking price is $100. It's not gonna be time, and I'll help you out whatever you need help with. Just, that is in my wheelhouse. So let's, figure it out, and then, like, let's talk.
Right.
Motherfuckers came down on me about that. You know what I'm saying? But that's not, I have to be fair. I don't just represent myself. I represent five other people. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? Like, so I can't,
And five
I
other people
can't
that are holding you accountable.
holding me accountable. And it's like, yo, man, and it's like, man, the motherfucker, and they're protective of me because they don't want me to drain myself by my fucked up thing of, like, my survivor's guilt and my need to help people and all of this type of stuff. Like, that's a thing that's in me because, like, I have a lot of survivor's guilt. I shouldn't even be here. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, I was taken in. You know what I'm saying? God bless them for taking me in. So, but I was taken in. So I have this twisted thing in myself. I need to pay that forward. I don't need people to have control over me.
Right.
I can be very vulnerable. So I'm like, man, I gotta. So I would do that, and I totally understand. Like, some people are like that. They don't even know. They're not cognizant. It's like, all right, well, you know, like, you not like fuck people, but, like, you sometimes need somebody that might be a little bit extreme. That's just like, man, fuck them people. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you worked hard and learned all of that stuff. You already, like, sharing that with us, motherfucker. Them people don't respect you, da da da
Right.
da. And it's like, damn. But, because I would be enabling people, because then I learn and I look like, especially rappers, they're the fucking worst. You know what I'm saying? There are,
Hip hop stinks.
man, it stinks. And so they're like, man, they're entitled and, like, help me out. And they're always blaming shit and being mad and don't want to do the unsexy part of the job. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And, so, but you can get tapped out. So that's why, boundaries have to be a practice, and you
Mm.
have to identify the shit. Cause, that could, your kids can take advantage of you.
Yeah.
Spouses can take advantage of you. Your aunts and your uncles and your parents can take advantage of you. Like,
Facts.
it's always a thing because you love them. That makes it even more tricky because you love them. You love them. But even people you don't fucking love, your job can take advantage of you. Well, how you do that? Well, if you ain't got no leverage in the company, then it's gonna be tough. So you got to figure out and be creative with how to defend yourself if you got like a 9 to 5 type of situation. Like that stuff is tricky. That
Yeah.
stuff is super tricky, like, and people will make excuses. And so you just, like, no, I'm a person. I'm a people person. But I try to challenge those, a people pleaser, excuse me, a people pleaser. I try to challenge those things within me and like have to practice being like keeping the distance. You know what I'm saying? Even with, like, I see that all the time. Even, man, I get shouted down by teachers and accused of enabling, like, kids with an anger problem, because like they're always checking in with me, like that. They always come in like to check in. Like, I'm
Yeah.
always having these check-ins because he's got anger problems, and I'm coaching him down, helping him out, and it's like, man, I'd rather be in with Mr. Denick than fucking class, man. I'd just rather be in there with him and being in class. Like, no, you can't just camp out in my room. You gotta go to class, young man. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? And then some, trying to keep these young men in school and not like drop out and all of this type of stuff, doing my job as a counselor. People get on me, like teachers get on me because they just want the motherfucker gone. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
They're like, y'all enabling the motherfucker. Hey, man, I'm just doing my job, yo. My job is a counsel and help this motherfucker. So I'm not enabling shit. But then I gotta be cognizant of that. I gotta make sure if he come in to check in and it's not his time for getting counseling, I gotta hear him briefly. Like, all right, man, you gotta get to class. You gotta go. You gotta
Right.
go. I gotta push him out the door because I know what they're gonna bring on him, and that's not just for him. That's for me too.
Right.
And then I make sure, man, I don't, man, they already know. I'm like, man, if it's past 4 o'clock, I'm not answering, like, cause I get the company, the agency I work for, they give us like work phones. So it's like they don't have my phone number, but they have my work phone number. It's like, look, man, after 4 o'clock, I love y'all, but I'm not finna I'm not finna answer that phone. I shut that phone clean off. Even with the company I work for. Like, man, I'm not checking emails for this company after 4 o'clock. When I get home, it's a wrap,
Right.
you know, because that shit will drain me. That shit will drain me. Like, I got, like, I got another gig. And I'm a working artist. I got a whole ass comic book to write. Y'all not finna make me too tired to do my artwork. And so that's where it comes to be. Like, that's how you have to address what is the liabilities. What are the liabilities? You have
Mm.
to, that was like a list of my liabilities if I don't set certain boundaries and if I allow myself to enable motherfuckers. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying? Y'all gotta hold the helpee, aka the one that's being enabled upon, like getting the enablement. They're going through a whole other thing because they're becoming codependent.
And probably don't even realize it.
Possibly don't even realize it. You know what I'm saying? And if they do realize it, they might be like, "Man, fuck, this is easier with this motherfucker helping me." or for what in whatever capacity. So then they can easily become a grifter and just trying to manipulate you, the enabler. So they're like, nah, yo, you gotta set boundaries with all of that type of stuff. And I'm gonna go back to Shah City Sheba, like the goals. The
Right.
goals. What's the goals? What's the goal of helping you? What's the goal of helping you? Getting you on your feet? Okay, cool. We then the next step is we need a plan. We need a plan, y'all. If it's just a one-time thing, like, man, I just gotta pay for this, da 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 da. Is that all you gotta pay for? you know, yeah, all right, let's make sure that this is all that you got to pay for. What about this? Have you thought about this? And we're walking through it. If that's it, then cool. One time, whatever. If you need multiple things, then you gotta let me know, and then we can. And if I can't help you, then we'll work on it. If I can't, then like, yo, it's a one time thing, and you be
Right.
firm in that. Because otherwise you get
Yeah.
victimized is what I
Victimized.
mean
And
when I say
yeah,
vic.
yeah, yeah. Sheba
I'm for
says
the
that.
people that don't know what that means.
Right. Sheba says, and it's been sitting up there for a minute, but because we were talking, but they may see solving the issue quickly is a better help. It's not most of the time. People do that, and she says, I know I have. And then she says, yes, boundaries indeed. And then she said, yes, exactly. I'm assuming that she's talking about what you're talking about right now.
Yeah.
Man, every time we get into these kind of things, man, I just like I don't know. I start going down these roads of my thought process and shit. Like just even a moment ago when you were talking about your what did you say, Survivor?
Survivor's guilt, yeah.
Yeah, that like as I'm trying to listen to you, but then my brain went somewhere else with it, and I'm like, that just reminds me of like every time I get sick or something happens, I prefer to like sit and suffer in it. You know what I mean? Because I don't even know why I feel that way, but I feel like I owe my suffering for some reason. You know what I'm saying? I don't even.
Yeah.
Yeah, is that the same type of thing?
It can be a part of it.
Yeah.
Yes. In some cases. I think everyone's dealings and their issues are different, but like,
Hmm.
yeah, that can be a part of it. Absolutely.
Well, I think like too, like us as men, like we especially like the generation I'm from, not none of I don't think a lot of this newer generation can understand that kind of thinking. But being told a lot when you're a child, be tough, wipe your knee off and all this other shit. What do they call that? Toxic man, or what is it?
They taught masculinity, toxic
Yeah,
masculinity.
yeah.
I don't I think that's I wouldn't call sucking it up as like toxic masculinity. Like cuz it's not um it's that's a lot of those buzzwords are that's a whole nother subject
Right.
about
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah.
Because then like when you got to define what's gentle masculinity. Nobody want to talk about that. Like there's these virtues that are like that you call, like, if you look at the virtues of gentle masculinity, that's the same virtues that are that are largely looked upon in femininity. You know what I'm saying? But like none of that shit is specific to a sex or any of that stuff. You know what I'm saying? So
Hmm.
it's like that's like basically like when they're like, oh, women are more nurturing. It's like, motherfucker, people are learned to be nurturing. You know what I'm saying? Like we're not animals. We're not instinctual.
Right.
We're sapiens. We're sapient beings, so we can decide and make cognitive decisions. If you don't want to breastfeed, motherfucker, you ain't getting this breast milk. You know what I'm saying? Like no matter what the fuck my body say, like, cause that woman is a sapient being. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? She's, like, I mean, not even animals for that matter. Animals ain't fucking fucking instinctual when it comes to raising kids. That's why there's a lot of motherfucking animals that eat their young in the wild. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? And why so many women go through postpartum depression. You know what I'm saying? And as do men go through postpartum depression. We don't, but don't want to talk about that shit. You know what I'm saying? But
Right.
that's a real thing. Men go through postpartum depression. You know what I'm saying? And so, like, but there's no compassion for that. You know what I'm saying? Like, or I just to believe, like, how many of these so-called deadbeat dads are that like when we're suffering from postpartum depression and then snap out of that shit and then want to come back in the kid's life. You know what I'm saying? Were they just deadbeat fathers or were they suffering from postpartum depression? Did anybody give a fuck enough to check them out about the shit? You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Nah, no one did. You know what I'm saying? All of that stuff and these discoveries and these learning these things, there's a context to it, and it's not like a lot of that shit ain't even gender specific. You know what I'm saying? Like, well, nurturing is a feminine quality. I mean, get the fuck out of here. Like, it's a human quality. Cause
Right.
I'm mad fucking nurturing to my shorties. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
that? You know, so
She
it,
just says society's messy communication, and she also says, and she's talking about the same thing we're talking about. We experience life and we familiarize ourselves with our response, good and bad. I'm learning that.
yeah, respect. So like, so with all this stuff with enabling, man, people just gotta, like I always say, it's a practice, yo. It is a
Yeah,
practice.
it is a practice. I said that uh, the other day to someone, because I'm like you already know my journey. You've been rocking with me
Yeah,
for a minute. You know what I'm saying? And it's really like I found myself like in the beginning having to be aware of the things I say, you know what I mean, my delivery, and my response, like we were saying earlier about okay, so if a motherfucker yell at me and then I, want to fight immediately, it's about my response, you know what I'm saying?
yeah,
And when we talk about like muscle memory now is what I liken it to, you know what I'm saying? Because now
yeah,
I've gotten to this point now over this last year to where it's not even a thought anymore how I treat people and how I respond to people. You know what I mean? Because I
yeah,
started practicing that behavior. You know what I'm
right.
saying? But the first part of that is also being aware of it. Like what we talked about before.
Yeah,
Excuse me. We know two plus two equals four, but it's the execution, right? So in the beginning, it was really difficult to one realize what I was doing or saying or being aware of what I was doing or saying. You know what I'm saying? Or even catch it when it was a little too late because I already fucking said it or I've already fucking done it. You know what I mean? And so it's really the execution, right? And once I figured out, I don't know that I figured it out, but it just kind of happened. But being aware of myself, or even taking it, the old fucking adage, think before you speak and all that kind of shit. Just being aware to like before I even say anything, stop for like a millisecond or whatever and think about what I'm gonna say before I fucking say it or how I respond. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
And then
yeah,
after doing that for such a period of time, it's like the other day I was like, holy shit, you know what I mean? It's like now it's not even a thought. I don't have to think about what I'm going to say because I have been in practice of this. You know what I'm saying? So now it's become, you know, I'm not going to say 100% normal, but it's not my response. I'm very aware of my responses and how I deliver things at this
yeah.
point. You know what I'm saying?
No, it's same with myself. I wasn't, it's like, people probably would watch it like, dang, that motherfucker be on. I wasn't always like this. This is just tons of fucking training and corrective stuff and all of this type of, like, and I hate being misunderstood and I hate misunderstanding. So I'm
Right.
like, okay, I gotta contextualize everything and and everything that I do, everywhere I move, I'm always contextualizing it, trying to understand so I don't miss I don't make a misstep, and people
Or
know.
misinterpretate something.
Yeah, misinterpret anything, and and people understand as much as they can. I'm not in charge of their understanding of me, but I am accountable for how that could be misread. So, just make sure that I'm like better in my process, you
Right.
know.
And that's a process within itself.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely, and stay away from, unless if I'm not sure, like, yeah, like as an artist, I have a hard time talking to other artists because I don't like to talk artsy fartsy to other artists because everybody's already creative. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So like the thing that they're shitty in is their business. So as an artsy fartsy dude myself, I have to practice that and I'm not saying I'm good in business. I think I have a basic good cognitive understanding of like how to do like business and music business. So I don't talk and I don't talk unless we're creating together. I'm not talking artsy fartsy to any art fart motherfuckers. But then that projects that, man, these niggas don't even love this shit no more.
Right.
Like, all right, and then like, I don't fuck with him, man. He don't even love this shit. Every time you talk about it, he just like, hip hop stinks, and it's like, yeah, I mean, it does stink, but it's like, it's just it's frustrating, and it's like, but it's not that I don't love this. I very much super love this. I'm blessed.
Right.
But, I don't, not but, period, new sentence. I don't want to get vicked, and I don't want to be a party to any of you motherfuckers getting vicked. So I'm never having artsy fartsy conversations with people, with other artists. Like I don't do that.
Do
You
you
know what I'm
feel like
saying?
if you did that, you feel like if you did that you'd be enabling them if you did that?
Yeah, in some degree, yes.
How
Yes.
so?
Um,
If a person is just seeking information from you or whatever, or is it that you're of the old adage, man, do the fucking work, you know what I mean? Like, or you know what I
no,
mean?
I mean, I'm not like, if you can get to me, then, man, I got you. I got your back. Like I'm a very giving person. I just, my peoples get on me about like, hey, motherfucker, so I'm like, okay, I gotta set boundaries and for all of that stuff. But no, I don't, I don't like I don't like okay, perfect example. Like, man, I was having this conversation just, like a few hours ago. Big up to Marcel P. Black out in he's in Oklahoma right now from Baton Rouge. You know, he was we were talking about, he a Southern MC. We was talking about like we were just talking about hip hop, and and he said something like, man, and I was telling him about like, man, the East and the West has really like gutted our sound. If you do a beat, that is got like funk grooves, you know, some dumb rapper like, oh, that's got that West Coast sound. Motherfucker, that's our sound. We from the Midwest. Funk come from here. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And or if it's like, man, that's that boom bap, that's that East Coast sound. Like, motherfucker, like like them snares and those kicks, like Clyde Stubblefield ain't from no fucking New York. That motherfucker from Memphis. You know what I'm saying? And then, move here, and there's Chess Records and the Gap Band, and all of all of that stuff comes from here. And it's like, man, and he was like, man, the Midwest just never got its get back. Like, no one respected the South, but we running shit like on a major level. So this is our get back. Y'all just never got y'all get back. And
Hmm.
y'all are ingrained in the DNA of everybody else. You know what I'm saying? But I can't have that conversation
Right.
with, artists, because it's like then they're gonna, oh, this they're popping. Oh, no, it's real specific, and it's all of this, and it's like, man, come on, man, but like it'll, and I get it, it'll hurt them, it'll hurt their feelings, because they looked up to these people. I don't look up to no fucking body, but my father, my grandfather, that's the only person I look up to. Everybody else I admire. I ain't a fan of nobody. I'm just an admirer of people. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? But I can't have that conversation because that's mean. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? That's
I was just
mean
gonna
to
say,
say.
like, oh shit, I lost my train of thought. But I was gonna say something along the lines about feelings and someone's feelings within the enabling part. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Like, and
Do you
you
think like
know,
it's do you think that being aware of somebody's feeling can help you discern the difference between helping them and enabling them?
you should,
Or or how
yes.
about be more aware of your own feelings then, I guess. Maybe I don't know.
It can be, you can, you should practice compassion.
Mhm.
It's always tricky, like, with time restraint and all of that type of stuff. Like, life can get in the way of that, and you get into the point. But no, it's a part of it, and absolutely, your feelings are feeling. I don't subscribe to feelings are facts. Feelings are not facts, but
No,
they
they're
are
not.
important. They are
Yeah,
important, and they can be valid, even if they're wrong. They're still
right.
valid.
They're
You know what
still
I'm saying?
valid.
Yeah, you know.
I think that is a truth that a lot of people don't understand. Even if your feelings wrong, if your feelings are wrong, but they're still valid. You know,
Hmm.
that's something that I just recently, it's probably within the last few months, have begun to recognize. You know what I mean? Like I was telling somebody about, and this is about the enabling shit. You know what I mean? And they were like, well, you shouldn't feel that way. And I immediately was like, because I said I felt like I was being taken advantage of, and I felt disrespected. You know what I'm saying? And my feelings are valid as fuck. They may or may not be right. You know what I mean? But they're valid because they're my feelings, and that's how I feel about that situation.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I
And
guess.
people,
Yeah.
yeah,
Go ahead.
no, and no, it's just people. It's one thing when everybody's wrong. People are good when, like, oh, you was wrong, I was wrong. It's real difficult when everybody's right.
Right. Oh, it's
That's
extremely difficult.
that's tricky.
Right.
That's tricky, you know. But yo, Heat, man, this thing is about to go out on me. Just wanna
Yes, sir.
say peace and blessings to
Thank you
everybody
so
out
much
there.
once again, brother, for being in on the show, man. You're always a
No
great help.
doubt, bro.
Always loved over here, man. For real, for real.
Man, peace to everybody in the chat, man. Blessings to y'all. One.
Yeah. Peace, peace. So yeah, man. Shy City Sheba, man. I'm gonna have to figure out. I'm just need to be calling you Sheba. You said feelings are our authentic response. Nobody should reduce that. Yeah, nobody should, but that doesn't stop people from doing it. You know, in having a conversation with my sister recently, she really was hitting me. Oh no, she was really hitting me with the like I shouldn't feel that way on some shit, and that I was wrong for even feeling that way. You know what I'm saying? Uh, Let me see what you say there. She said, "Folks got to mirror up and see their part." Yeah, but a lot of people won't. There's people, motherfuckers don't like looking in the mirror because that means you have to be accountable, and people don't want to be accountable. That's the thing. People don't fucking want to be accountable for shit. You know what I mean? And and it's even hard for a person to even like if people don't want to be accountable. Let's just take that to like self, right? And I'm just talking like in general, people don't want to be accountable. So if like myself, I'll just fucking use myself, right? How difficult it is to stand in front of the mirror and look at yourself and say, you realize you did that shit, right? You realize that you're the reason for the shit happening the way that it's happening or happened the way that it happened. That's a lot. You know what I'm saying? Let me see. Let me put that up there. Well, it's going to be hard communicating with them. Yeah, of course. But um people, I don't know, man. Like, and I'm still, I'm not saying I'm struggling with it, but I think I've gotten to a point now where I'm like overly accountable to myself sometimes. You know what I'm saying? Like, uh, where I'm holding accountability for somebody else's shit and then and taking it upon myself, and that ain't good. But even that is hard to discern sometimes. Like, okay, well, um, if I did it, I did it. Okay, and I'm gonna take accountability for it. But then when it's like the enabling shit again, then it like teeters on this, like, you know, fuck. Well, let me take accountability for that person, if that makes any sense. You know what I'm saying? It, shit, I don't know. But this is why we talk about these things. You know what I mean? We talk about these things on the show because number one, I feel like they're important as shit. And I know how important things have been on my journey, um, getting through things, owning up to shit. You know, I told somebody just recently that they were like, "Oh man, if I couldn't, if I would have did this, did that, or whatever," and I'm like, you realize that everything that happened to you and everything that has happened got you right here in this moment. You know what I'm saying? And had something else happen differently, you may not be in this moment. And this moment right now is so motherfucking important. You know what I'm saying? Our time is our most valuable currency. You know what I'm saying? So those things that God, all those things that, you know, everything, you know, that when, if you could go back when you were, would you go back if you were 14 years old, and what would you change? Well, fuck. If you love where you're at right now and everything is great for you and you brought it, but you want to go back and change a couple little things, those things may or might not be, you know, good for you in that change. Everything happened for a fucking reason. You had to learn these lessons, regardless of how long it took you to get there. Everybody's time clock is different, but you had to learn those lessons in order to get you where you're at. Like I had to learn, you know, at my age, man, like fuck, it took me forever. You know what I'm saying? But I'm here now and I'm present now. And that should be the most important thing. You know what I'm saying? Because you know, nobody's guaranteed tomorrow. You know what I mean? You're barely guaranteed moment by moment. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, yeah, Shiva, yeah, it would alter everything. And then if you alter that one thing, this is all hypothetically, of course. If you alter that one thing, maybe that happiness that you're in right now, maybe it never exists. Maybe it never ever happens. Like, yeah, the butterfly effect. Yeah, maybe it never fucking happens. And then what? Oh, I bet you'll want to go back again and redo that shit all over again. But then you have other people that say, I would never change a damn thing. Okay. I used to be the person that thought about if I could just change that of my past, you know, of the things that I went through growing up. But those things that I went through growing up got me to be the resilient man that I am. It gave me a goddamn constitution, you know. And I stand on things, especially now being more aware of shit and being more aware of myself. You know, uh, it makes me stand on a whole different type of principle. You know what I mean? And I maneuver, even though I may have maneuvered before in the same manner, in the way, but the way I maneuver now is more precise, if that makes any sense. You know what I'm saying? And and I think that's kind of like where the whole helping, enabling, because it's just another thing that I'm learning in this journey. It's just another thing that I'm learning in this journey about enabling, Because when you start being really self-aware, you're really aware of things happening around you. Even when everybody else is, they don't think that you know what's going on. You're so fucking hyper aware of shit. You see things out the corner of your eye that you would never even noticed before, so to speak. You're hearing things in a conversation that you never paid attention to before. You know what I'm saying? And which again made me think about helping and enabling. You know what I'm saying? And that is in a very, very thin fucking line, especially if you want to help someone. You desperately want to help someone. You know what I'm saying? It's an extremely thin line because you may end up enabling them in the process. And in the process, because this show is about mental health, you know what I'm saying? So in the process, it's not good for either party. You know what I'm saying? I mean, yeah, fuck. I don't know. Uh yeah, you become so sensitive to every detail. Very true, Sheba. That's what I mean. I said hyper aware. Yeah, but you become so sensitive to every detail. I hear and see everything. As I told my children, like, you know, when I have a conversation with something, I'm like a all-star shortstop in baseball. You know what I'm saying? Nothing gets past me. You can talk, you can do whatever you say, you can do, you know what I mean, all that shit. But I'm catching everything, the nuances of your conversation, your body movement, your body language, all of that shit. When before, you know, that thing where they say, "Oh, you only hear what you want to hear." Before, I wasn't really listening, or I was listening but I wasn't hearing. How about that? You know what I'm saying? And to be aware of all these things is crazy because then your thought process, all of that shit changes. Everything, how you perceive things, how you perceive people, how you react, how you respond. Um, and the helping and the enabling is just another small part, like the gears and everything behind me. It You got bigger gears, like the other old adage, there's bigger fish to fry. You know what I'm saying? And there's with inside the workings of our brains, there's little tiny gears, and I think the helping and the enabling is just another little tiny gear, other than the bigger gears. But even without those little tiny gears, can affect the big gears. For those of you, that's kind of a layman's term, I guess. The little tiny gears can affect the big gears. So it's important that even when we talk about, Shiva says, it can become so isolating sometimes. Yeah, yeah. It's the snowball effect. You know what I mean? Because sometimes when we think about mental health, we always think about the bigger mental health stuff. You know what I'm saying? We think about schizophrenia. We think about PTSD. We think about a lot of those things, but we don't think about the smaller things that we do a lot of talking about on the show, because those smaller things add up to the bigger things. They all work together again, like the gears in the back here, and they all fuck with the inner workings of our brain and how our problem solving skills, our interactions with people, our critical thinking, um, all of that type of shit. And I think it's kind of like a wall, or like a big brick wall, like tearing down a big brick wall. Just piece by piece. You got to chip away at it piece by piece, and it's a struggle, like for real. Because you have to be like, if you really want to change your life and you really want to change shit, you have to be really, really, really aware, and you have to be really, really, really uh, obligate yourself to make those changes. Because it's easy as fuck to just fall back on some shit, you know. Because I don't drink anymore, I hear people tell me all the time, like, "Oh man, what the fuck? That's so dope. You don't drink no more. How'd you do it? And how'd you this? And I'm so proud of you. This and this and this and that, and all that shit is cool." And I don't want to drink around. Man, I don't give a fuck about anybody drinking around me. I don't think, and it's really weird that people think that I'm thinking about alcohol like that. Not everybody I know, but there's people that say shit to me. I was up in Sub T's one night, and I was drinking some water, and somebody walked by and like low key, like grabbed my cup and then like looked at it and smelled it. Like, nigga, the fuck, what are you, top flight security, nigga? I don't need nobody telling me nothing. Nigga. I made my mind up to quit drinking, and that's that. You know what I'm saying? I don't need help. Although I do think that's there are people out there that do need help. I'm not taking anything away from anybody that may or may not need help. But to me, even though I had drank a lot, I drank, and I was not a social drinker. I drank to get fucked all the way up. And there was no in between. So the moment I picked up something to drink for the day, my intent was to be blacked out by night. You know what I mean? By the time I was ready to go to sleep, to be blacked out and drunk. And I did that since I was 13. So people say like, "Well, fuck, how did I don't know. I was telling the therapist that I don't know. I just put it in the back of my head into a compartment, threw it back there, and said, you know, just low key, just threw away the keys. Said, fuck that, I'm done. And for me, it was that simple. It's not that simple for other people. And then there's people around me, loved ones that like, oh, well, you fucked up so much, you know, being drunk all the time and this and this and that. Why it was so easy for you? Why in the fuck didn't you do it then? And I actually have people that are upset with me about that shit. I don't know. I wasn't aware, which goes back to all of this other shit we've been talking about. I was not aware. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Sheba. She said, I've been there too. I stopped in 2006 and never picked up another drink. She said, me too. 3 Long Islands was my start for the day. Shit. 3 Long Islands. That ain't enough to do nothing. Man, I was never really a wake up in the morning drinker. But shit, once it got around noon or something, I'm like 5 o'clock somewhere. And I was hell bent after that point to get extremely fucked up. But to get back on track, you know, some things are easy for some people, some things are not easy. Everything happens in each person's own time clock. You know what I mean? At their speed or whatever they feel uh, that absolute need to change. I guess I don't know. I can't, obviously can't speak for everybody. Um, hold on, what did Sheba say? What I learned was I was running. As soon as I faced me, I got better. Facts. That's what I was alluding to. And that's the other part of the enabling and the helping, because when you realize that you've been running from some shit, and whatever that vice was, that it could be alcohol, it could be whatever in the fuck. Once you realize that and you become aware, that's when the work starts. That's when the work starts. It's been harder for me to adjust and rewire my brain in my thinking than it was to quit drinking. The drinking shit is nothing. That shit was like drinking a glass of water to me. That shit was nothing. Wow, I'm done. Um, but once I did that, now I gotta face everything. There's no running anymore. There's none of that. There's looking in the mirror and say, "All right, motherfucker, this is what you did." And there was a moment in all of that of thinking, "What the fuck? How could I have let this happen?" Or even more so, like, "Wait a minute, what happened? Wait a minute, like, wait, what? Everybody's treating me this kind of way." And I'm not realizing that this is the way I had been treated this entire time because I had been drinking. Or something happened and I wasn't even aware of that whole shit going on around me because I had stayed drinking and running from everything. And now that the drinking had stopped, it's like, wait a minute, what you mean the house is broken and torn apart? You know what I'm saying? What you mean the relationship's over? Or what whoa, wait a minute, what? All of those types of realizations. And even Sheba, she says, it's still work to rethink your thinking. Yeah, it is. And I think sometimes even like I hate to keep harping on the drinking shit, but it's kind of crazy about a lot of it. Um, it's crazy because I know I get a lot of looks like when I say I don't know. This shit is brand new to me. You know, what I mean, this is new news to me, and I don't think people understand. If you blacked out as drunk and you tell a motherfucker something every day, and every day you're choosing to tell them when they're fucking drunk, how in the fuck do you expect me to even remember or even know anything if I come out of that coma? That's like a motherfucker being in a coma for a fucking 20 years. You expect them to know what the fuck, the internet is or some shit? You expect them to know everything? They won't know a goddamn thing. They won't know shit. Everything will be brand fucking new. You know what I'm saying? And even the helping and the enabling. I had no idea the amount of people that I was enabling. I had no idea the amount of people I wasn't helping. I had no idea of a lot of shit. You know what I'm saying? But I have an idea of it now, and I'm reprogramming, rethinking. And as we were talking about earlier, about being not just aware of it, but the practice of doing it. You know what I'm saying? The practice of uh, yes, exactly. Brain is shut off. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So you're talking about the part where the coma part. Yeah, yeah. The brain was shut down. So even in having like I have conversations with my nephew all the time, and he's like, "You don't remember this? You don't remember that? Fuck no, I don't remember that shit." I mean, no, this is new information to me. Yeah, I did what? Or that's another one that I tend to fucking find myself in. Like when people say something to me, I go, wait a minute, wait, I did what? That's some wild ass shit. And I'm like, wait a minute, I have zero recollection of that shit. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Shiva, man. Thank you so much for being in the show. I'm not about to end it because somebody just pulled up into the studio, so I don't know if they want to talk and elaborate on any of this at all. Um, but all of this shit is a fucking journey, and even the helping because you got to keep talking and going back to that. But before I do that, man, thank you for everybody that was watching on Rumble. You know what I'm saying? Everybody that was watching on YouTube. We love it. I mean, I love this show. Like I have other shows and shit that we do, but I really, really love this show because it's been very helpful to me in my journey. And the whole purpose of this show is to help people. Um, it is to help people that may be going through the same thing, that may have the same issues and the same shit happening in their life. And I'm not saying that all of these things that we talk about are things that are happening to me per se. These things are just life, and these things that are happening every fuck his life be lifing like a motherfucker. And these things that be happening, I always think like, man, especially as of late, the last year or so, you know, if I'm going through it, there's gotta be motherfuckers going through this shit. You know what I mean? And if I feel like I don't have anybody to talk to, or if I feel alone, there has got to be a motherfucker that feels like they don't have anybody to talk to or they feel alone. Because it's a cold motherfucking world out there. People don't give a fuck. They really don't. And you have to be conscious of the motherfuckers that you feel like give a fuck, because there's a lot of snake oil salesmen out there. That's real shit. But yeah, I just lost my train of thought. Ill has walked into the building. What's cracking, Ill?
Yo, yo, how you doing tonight, Heat? How you doing?
Man, I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm good. You know what I'm saying? Shiva says thank you. Good stuff all the time. Thank you, Shiva. We're going to get your ass on the show. We need a female on this show. We're going to get your ass in the studio and get you on the show.
Shout out
Yeah.
to Sheba.
She says there always is. Yeah, there always is people. There always going to be people. People that want to hear this, people that don't want to hear this, people that truly want to help motherfuckers, and people that want to help you and want something in return. As D Nick was saying earlier, goddamn, I just lost my train of thought when he was talking about the food and being somebody controlling his nutrition, which I thought was like a bit extreme. If a motherfucker cooking you dinner, I don't think that they're unless they're starving you, you know what I mean? You have no means to get any other fucking food, and they're the only person uh they're cooking, or they have the key to the fucking refrigerator or some shit, and you're in a hostage situation or whatever, you know what I mean? That, yeah, they're in control of your nutrition. If you're a fucking prisoner of war, maybe, or some shit like that. But goddamn, that's extreme as fuck. But that's his feelings about it, and that's, you know, and that shit's valid to him. It's not valid to me, but it's valid to him, and that's respectable. You know what I mean? I'm sorry, man. I you were gonna say, what were you gonna say?
Oh
Yeah.
no, yeah, I agree. I thought it was a little extreme at first, but I mean, not everybody. I expect it though. You want to make sure you're in control of everything that is gonna affect you. Not even just you, just your health. You know, just everything around you too. It could affect. You know, um, yeah, it's a little extreme. Train of thought, but I think the
What
principality
do
of
you
it.
think about helping somebody and enabling somebody? What do you think the differences are?
It is a very thin line. The line can be blurred a lot, especially when you're a naturally empathetic person, and um, and you're also naturally just considerate and what's the word that was used earlier?
I don't know. We use it a lot.
Yeah, a lot of big words, a lot of real good descriptive words, but just yeah, just being empathetic and wanting to help somebody because you felt that you needed that help yourself.
Right.
So
Or maybe you felt like, oh, you've seen this before in your life, and you know what it's like to be in that
exactly.
position, and you
Yes.
want to help somebody. But somebody,
Exactly.
you know, you can want to help everybody on the motherfucking planet, but, you know, a lot of people don't want to receive that help.
No, absolutely. That's why I think it was so dope that y'all that you that it's important to establish the rules and the boundaries to how are we gonna help you. Because yeah, like I said before, the line becomes blurred when it turns into enabling and just allowing uh whatever action or thing that is a liability to you, like D-Nick said earlier, um or a liability to themselves. The line could get blurred if you don't set those boundaries and those rules. So I thought that was super dope. I thought it was super dope. I never thought about it way before. I know that's something that kind of really resonated with me tonight. Is that
Word, word. Well, I'm really appreciative of you showing up. You didn't have to, but
nah
this show has ran way longer than
than
I
usual?
anticipated today. We're running on 2 hours, so we're gonna end this from YouTube and from Rumble, but we may jump back on in Rumble. So we got 5 people watching right now. Um, we may end up jumping back on in Rumble. So I'm gonna take a break real quick,
Yeah.
see if Ill wants to jump back on Rumble and keep on discussing
Oh,
some mental health things,
we
because
definitely
that's
can.
this show, and I think that's one of the things we're gonna do. Once we do the live for YouTube and Facebook for this show in particular, we'll continue the conversation on Rumble after we take a break. So, shout out to everybody that watched the show on YouTube, watched the show on Facebook. Shout out to everybody on Rumble. Hit that like and subscribe, man. We do the check in. This is the check in. It's a mental health show. We don't have the answers for everything, but we do seek for and look for resolution. We look for
Guidance.
help and guidance, and that's for everybody, not just for. We're not here like just handing out help and all that type of shit, because some of us need help too, you know. And this is why we do the show. But thank you everybody for chiming in, talking to us. Shout out to Shy City Sheba. You already know what it is, man. This has been the check-in. We will be back next Sunday again at 8:30 all the time. We were a little late today, but you know, we always going to be here on Sunday. We're always going to have our door open, so to speak, for people that want to chime in and talk to us, talk with us, or even just listen, because the topic varies every Sunday, and it really kind of depends on how I'm feeling or what I'm thinking about. But I'm always thinking about people outside of myself, what they, because I've been through a lot in my life, and I think about the things that me, you know, alone, just working on myself. And that's what made me think about today, about helping and enabling. That doesn't have shit to do with the show. I don't think the show is enabling anybody for anything, but just life in general, because even that is a part of mental health, I believe. You know what I'm saying? And like I said about the gears and everything behind me, our brains work, and there's all these little gears that help the big gears. So we can help the helping and the enabling part that may help somebody move forward with something else, or help them to stop hampering somebody that may hampering them because they're enabling them, hampering them in their life, stunting their life, and not giving them the room to grow. And then when they end up being in a certain situation and they don't have the tools or the understanding because they've been uh, enabled. You know what I'm saying? And then that shit can go down a horrible road. But anyways, yeah, shout out to everybody on Facebook and shout out to everybody on YouTube, man. If you're watching this shit on Facebook, man, go over to YouTube. Hit that like and subscribe. If you don't want to go to YouTube, go to Rumble. And if you're watching us on Rumble, man, hit that like and subscribe, man. We appreciate it. We're going to come back on Rumble probably in about 10 minutes, and we're going to kick it back up again. We're going to talk about a whole bunch of different stuff. I'm sure Ill is in the building. He's late, but he's on time, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Early for tomorrow.
Yeah, yeah. So this has been the check-in. You know what it is. We'll be back next Sunday. Hit that like and subscribe, man. Peace, peace. Everybody be safe. We out.